We were in junior high when I first remember. He was about to transfer to my junior high school at Eastside, and I remember me and my girlfriend were like so excited for the first day of school, and we knew these new boys were coming, and we were calling dibs on which one would get which one. And I don't know if I called dibs on Tyler. I'm gonna go with yes, and and I won. I got him, so so that worked out really nice.
We met in junior high for the first time, like Allie said. We're really good friends in 7th and 8th grade. But actually the first time I ever remember seeing Allie was when, believe it or not, we were 11 years old, and we were at our favorite place now in the world, South Lake, up in the Sierras on your way to Mammoth. And it was on one of Eastside's family trips, and it was a fishing trip, camping trip. It was great. And my dad and I were on one side of the lake, and we needed to get to the other side of the island, and a big storm had just hit. So the waves were going, and it was raining like crazy, and all of a sudden we saw these two girls, Allie and her older sister Sophie. And again, Allie and I were just 11 at that time, and my dad was like, "Time!" And then he looked at the girls and he said, "Allie, Sophie, let's go." So we hopped in the boat and we started going. I can't believe we made it to the other side without capsizing, but we did, and it was great. And I remember just, you know, huddling with my dad on the one side of the boat with our jackets on, and seeing Allie and her sister cuddling in the bow of the boat for the first time. It was the very first visual I've ever had of her. And I remember even in junior high, we both led what were called Go Groups back then, which were like Bible studies on our school's campus. I'd call her asking if we could talk about Go Groups, really with no intention about talking in any regard about the Bible study. I just wanted to talk with her and use that as an excuse. You know, none of the girls at my school ever really caught my eye at all. And I didn't start liking Allie until really going into high school. But I remember even at the end of 8th grade, we had our Washington, D.C. trip, and all the girls, we had to choose a character, a famous character to be and to dress up as. And all the girls pretty much chose to be these women, and they wore fancy flowing dresses. And Allie, being the fun, creative and adventurous girl that she is and was even back then, chose to be Meriwether Lewis, and had this dress on, but had the cowboy hat and the cowboy boots. And I remember even just seeing that, I'm like, this girl is awesome. She's so cool, and she wants to have fun, and she loves having fun. I remember our homecoming dance came around. It was the beginning of October, and in junior high we didn't have any dances that we went to at all. And so I remember going into high school being really excited for the homecoming, and no one at my school did I want to ask. The only person I ever wanted to ask was Allie. And so I remember it was at Main Event, one of our high school midweek church events, and it was on a Thursday night, and we were done. It was about 9:15 at night. Kids are kind of leaving, and we're hanging out, I think watching a dodgeball game going on, and we're kind of on the sideline. And I just went up, and so scared and nervous. It was my first time asking a girl to do a dance, and I just said, "So, you gonna go to homecoming?" She's kind of stands there and she's like, "I don't know, maybe." And I said, "Well, my dance is coming up. You want to go with me?" And she says, "Yeah." And then she says, "Well, my dance is also coming up at Eastside. Do you want to go with me?" And I said, "Yeah, sounds good." And we said, "All right, see you later."
And from then on, it was kind of a very gradual, very slow process, but we recognized, I think, how young we were and how much potential our relationship had, and so we protected it as best as we could, and took our time, and kept our friends, and had fun, and enjoyed high school, and we really had a wonderful relationship with no regrets in high school.
Yeah, we did have a lot of fun. I mean, some of our favorite things to do would be, you know, playing sports. Obviously, I played football in high school, and soccer, and ran track, and Allie did volleyball and basketball. So we loved activities, snowboarding, going to the mountains, going to the beach, going to Disneyland, hanging out with friends, just goofing off on the weekends. We've been very intentional, I feel like, in our relationship history of being very inclusive and doing things with groups of friends and hanging out in mass quantities of people.
There was a point when we were graduating from high school, and this is kind of the downer side of the story, but it ended up being a great part of our relationship, but where we kind of ran out of high school relationship. We didn't know how to transition into a college couple, and we couldn't do it. It was so hard for us to make that transition and to give up being kids and all those pieces, and so we did actually break up for about 2 months. We're not very good at being broken up. But yeah, during that time we invited God a lot into our relationship and really sought instruction on how to be a more serious partnership.
I remember I saw this side of Allie during that point in our relationship that I hadn't seen this fire in a long time, and she was so brutally honest with me, and she just said, Tyler, you need to get to the point where, number one, like we have been doing, we keep God first, but you need to get to the point where you not just view me as your best friend, not just view me as someone who you like hanging out with and like doing things with, but where you adore me. And I remember that just hit me like a ton of bricks. And that summer, again, those couple of months that we were on a break, didn't last super long, but God did a whole lot during that process. And we went to Kenya with our church that year on a mission trip, and that's actually where, believe it or not, in Kenya where we had our first conversation about talking about what would it look like if we got back together. And it was really at the beginning of college where God just put it on our hearts like, this is a good thing. I've grown you each in ways that I need to grow you. I put that love and that adoration for me and for the other in your hearts, and this is something that I am orchestrating from up above.
Our first kiss was when I turned 15 years old. So we went to the park with a bunch of our friends, and everybody kind of knew, like we were waiting until around that time, whatever. Everyone knew we wanted to kiss then, and it was so awkward. And they all went ahead of us. There was probably like 15 or so of our friends, and they like assembled a little cluster on the jungle gym. And Tyler and I stayed back on the swings. Tyler's pushing me on the swing, making the moves. And then like somehow we ended up hugging each other, and he kissed me, and it was like, because we were like excited to kiss. It had been 9 months, and a good 15 of our friends witnessed our very first
all
kiss.
saw it.
So that was really funny and a great community.
How I first said I love you. I was a scaredy cat for the longest time. I'm someone who has very strong feelings and passions. If you know me, that's exactly how I am. But I'm not always the first one to share them with everyone. And something like this that was so big in our relationship, obviously, I was a little scared and a little slow. But I had loved Allie for a long time already. And it was during our junior year in high school that I first confessed it to her. And we were on our way to my buddy Matt Schrock's house to watch a movie with him and his girlfriend Kathy, and we were in front of their driveway. I didn't even say a word. I just started circling the block. And Allie, just kind of looks at me and she goes, "What are we doing?" And I said, "I don't know, I'm just, driving around a little bit," and I made some lame excuse and kept going. So I just kept driving again. She goes, "Tyler, seriously, like, what are you doing?" And I said, "You know what, we're just gonna go around here and stop and talk for a little bit." And she goes, "Okay." So I'll go around about 2 streets over and pull the car to the stop. And just like it took me a long time on the phone to say, "Allie, I like you," it took me a long time to say, "Allie, I love you." But after telling her the reasons why I loved being in a relationship with her and some of other of those mushy things, I finally got it out, and I told her, and I said, "I love you," and I have for a long time.
We cannot get through this day without expressing our incredible deep gratitude for those of you that have made the trip out here just to spend the day with us and celebrating our marriage, our union, and it wouldn't be the same if you weren't here, and so we want to say thank you so much. We thank you for what you've invested in us up to this point, and we fully admit that we would not be who we are, and we could not love the way we love if we hadn't met you guys, and if you hadn't poured into us for the hours you've spent chatting with us, the sacrifices you've made serving us, whatever kinds of things that you've done and that we probably don't even know about. We're so grateful, and couldn't say it enough or loud enough or long enough, and so thank you.
It's a very small thing in the grand scheme of things, looking at everything that each and every one of you has done for us, how you've invested in us, how you poured yourselves into us, how you've taken the time to talk with us, have conversations with us individually together. I mean, Allie and I are literally right here sitting side by side because of you guys, and it's because of what you've done, and we are the couple that we are in God's eyes, and it's all because of the things that you guys have done. And so saying thank you just seems like something so small, and we can't say it enough. We just want to, from the bottom of our hearts, repeatedly, just over and over, say thank you. Thank you for every single thing that you guys have done for us. We love you. Our friends, our family, our close loved ones, you guys are amazing. You guys rock. And we couldn't express our gratitude enough. Thank you.